Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So this is going to be my Harley Quinn Joker video for Suicide Squad. We haven't really talked about her in a while. This film is going to be something of an origin story for her character, and they'll change a few things from the comics, but even if you've been reading her for a long time in the comics, if you watch the animated series, it's all going to be in there. You may have heard stories about how they're tinkering with Batman v Superman to make it more of a Batman story than it is a Superman story because they're so excited about Ben Affleck's Batman. But I think the deal with the Suicide Squad movie is that they always intended to do something like that with the Joker and Harley Quinn's character. Harley Quinn getting the origin story. When we see Suicide Squad, Joker will already be Joker. That's what I think some of these images from the trailer are all about. Him dipping her in the vat of chemicals. If you remember some of the Batman v Superman trailers, we actually see Ace chemicals. So I'm wondering if that is where this is happening in the Suicide Squad trailer. Remember, this is a shared universe, so just expect some of the locations that you see in Gotham in Batman v Superman to show up during Suicide Squad. But even though they'll be telling this Joker Harley Quinn story within Suicide Squad, it's still the story of how the Suicide Squad becomes the Suicide Squad, or Task Force X, however you want to think about it. Originally it started as Task Force X, but most people just call it Suicide Squad. Harley Quinn though, WTF is Harley Quinn. Most of you probably know her from the animated series. That's where she debuted. Bruce Timm is her creator. She's one of the very few comic book characters that was created during the 1990s that became super popular. The most popular comic book characters you see nowadays, Batman, Superman, the Avengers, all those characters were created 30, 40, 50 years ago. There are very few super popular characters that were created in more recent years. Harley Quinn and Deadpool are my favorite examples. Now, they're very different characters, but they're popular for relatively the same reason. They're a more adult spin on characters that were originally written for children that came during an era of comics when the biggest heroes were really adult. Like Wolverine was one of the most popular comic book characters in the 90s, and he was super adult, super hardcore compared to the rest of the Marvel Universe. DC characters is the same thing on DC's side. So during the 90s, you see all the big titles start to go way dark. X-Men goes dark, Batman gets darker, they break his back, they introduce the Bane character, they introduce Doomsday, they kill Superman. The 90s was a period when relatively silly comic book characters grew up a little bit. So Harley Quinn was kind of an amalgam of a lot of those things. She was a more adult take on a character that kids loved, but because it was in the animated series, it was a character that was really easy to expose to kids, but that adults would also enjoy. So she had this broad spectrum appeal where she was 1, hot, 2, she was funny, and 3, she got to hang out with one of the coolest comic book villains, the Joker. Now, one of the few minor differences to her origin story that they might use in the movie is where she shows up. Because the Joker is in prison, she's a psychiatrist, he, being the Joker, very charismatic, twists her and she falls in love with him and takes the Harley Quinn persona, breaks him out, and they go on their crime spree, have all kinds of crazy adventures together. It's a lot of fun. All in the animated series. I would actually recommend that you watch that before you read her in the comic books. They've changed her quite a bit in the New 52. They've done a lot of different things with the character. One of the more recent changes, which you might find blasphemous if you're a big Harley Quinn fan, is address her relationship with the Joker in a more literal way, take it more seriously. Like, why is this woman hanging out with this abusive man? So recently, Harley Quinn's kind of told the Joker off, just because I think they wanted a more positive spin on what was going on with her character. Like, if she were to really come to her senses and realize that the Joker is a terrible person, why would she continue to stay with him? If you want the classic Harley Quinn persona, where the dream is still alive, where the Joker and her still have this awesome relationship, just avoid the New 52. In the comics, she was a psychiatrist at Arkham. I don't know if they're going to change that for the movie or not. It might be Blackgate Prison. There are a number of big prisons in the DC universe where they house supervillains, so we'll see. I know when we meet her in the movie for the first time, she's already Harley Quinn. She's going to be working with the Suicide Squad, so they'll probably deal with her backstory in the way Deadpool dealt with Deadpool's backstory, like how they flash back briefly and then fast forward to present day. Like, you're introduced to her for the first time in all her Harley Quinn glory. She's just being this amazing character. And then they break up a bunch of different flashbacks through the movie to explain how she got to that point. And the other thing, too, we don't really know is how they're going to treat her relationship with Joker in modern day. Because there are a couple different things going on in Suicide Squad. One, they'll have a mission to avert some giant crisis. Like, oh my god, this is so dangerous that we don't want to send our own people in. So we'll send in the comic book expendables, enter Task Force X. But then you'll also have these other antagonists like the Joker. Like, it seems like they're going after the tattooed man, like he's going to be one of the villains of the movie. But there's still a lot of uncertainty because I feel like any story the Joker shows up in, he's automatically going to be the coolest villain, even if he's not the main antagonist of the film. So don't be surprised if there's a point during the film where Harley Quinn tells the Joker off or seemingly swaps sides back and forth, because that's kind of her thing. She's always going to be obsessed with the Joker, whether she likes him or not. There have been certain periods in the comics when she's been left to rot in jail by the Joker, and then there are other times when he uses opportunities to break her out, usually only when it serves his purpose. Like if he has some big mission and she just happens to be around, like, oh, okay, I'll break you out too. So you get the idea. The Joker is an equal opportunity dirtbag, even to the people who seemingly care about him. But that's really the fun part of the Harley Quinn character, exploring what it is that makes her like the Joker so much. I mean, this is still a big comic book movie. Don't expect it to go all Christopher Nolan and get super cerebral like Interstellar or something like that. It's still going to be a lot of fun. But I feel like if you've been a big fan of Harley Quinn's character for a long time, you always come back around to two big things. One, that wisecracking, unpredictable nature, like Deadpool. She's kind of a Deadpool type character. And two, what's going on inside her head? Why is she so batshit crazy for the Joker? And as crazy as she is, part of the fun of the character is watching her turn on a dime and go from really silly to really angry. But if you really like the Deadpool movie, which most of you probably did, a lot of that energy is going to be in the Suicide Squad movie. Now, Suicide Squad is going to be PG-13, but I feel like the only difference between Deadpool's R and Suicide Squad's PG-13 is a little less TNA. So let me know in the comments, what's your favorite thing about the Harley Quinn character? Is it her relationship with the Joker? Is it just watching her bounce forth between really silly and really crazy all the time? And would you want to see a Harley Quinn spin-off movie? If the Suicide Squad is as successful as they want it to be, I feel like they're going to try and spin out a Harley Quinn franchise. I'd rather see that than some of the other Suicide Squad characters get their own movie. Everybody's been talking about getting a female-led superhero film, like Marvel doing Captain Marvel. We have Wonder Woman coming. I feel like DC could also double down, and if Margot Robbie's performance is compelling enough, I mean, we haven't seen the movie yet, they could do a Harley Quinn movie. That just feels like something that would be awesome. Make no mistake though, unless the movie completely tanks, which I don't think it will, there will be a Suicide Squad 2. It's just not on the books yet. They're not going to greenlight it until they release the first movie. In slightly related news, apparently Anthony Mackie was talking about Hulk things going on in Captain America Civil War. I'll probably do a video about that next, so be sure to subscribe to get that. If there are any Suicide Squad or Batman v Superman movie videos that you guys want me to do, just let me know in the comments. We're basically a month away from Daredevil Season 2 dropping, The Punisher looks amazing, and Batman v Superman coming out. That's how close it is. It's right around the corner. While you guys wait for me to finish that video, you can click here to learn all about the Deadpool sequel, Deadpool and Cable, and you can click here for all my Suicide Squad videos. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.